Hey everyone, this is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network, and today we are going to talk about a U.S. citizen who is facing 20 years in prison for teaching cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to a country that the U.S. government says he's not allowed to. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com, where you can find all of our latest content, and you can also follow us on Minds, where I have been active again. I got active again on Minds after kind of slowing down for a little while. You can find our page right there. Also on Steam It for the moment still. Discord, you can join our Discord channel. There's lots of chatting and talking going on in there. You can also sign up for our text list so you don't have to depend on Facebook or YouTube or any of the social media to tell you when I'm going live. You can get text messages directly from me. You can also follow on BitChute. And if you want to support, you can do so via Patreon or Subscribestar. Finally, sign up for our email newsletter. And if you want to get CBD or Kratom, check it out through My Brave Botanicals. So this story is coming from the freethoughtproject.com. If you never checked them out, check them out. And just a few days ago, they were reporting on this man. He's a young guy. His name is Virgil Griffith, a cryptocurrency advocate, and how, I think this is a really clear example of two things. For one, it's an example of how cryptocurrency is something that does scare the state. Not to say that there's a perfect cryptocurrency available at the moment or that there aren't flaws and that cryptocurrency is not going to be cryptocurrency and blockchain, which blockchain is the digital ledger that underpins cryptocurrency. Not to say that these tools can't and won't be used in the smart grid 5G digital future in the hands of the state, but the fact of the matter is that the state is also afraid of decentralized versions of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology coming out. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to tell people, hey, the IRS is going to come after you if you're making money outside of our hands on cryptocurrency. And they wouldn't be doing things like they're doing to this young man, who apparently did not teach anybody to hack, didn't go down there and, funnel money to terrorists or, the people, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea or the DPRK. He didn't go there and do anything of that sort. But he was recently arrested by the Department of Justice for presenting information on cryptocurrency and blockchain inside North Korea. U.S. Attorney Jeffrey S. Berman stated, quote, "As alleged, Virgil Griffith provided highly technical information to North Korea, knowing that this information could be used to help North Korea launder money and evade sanctions. In allegedly doing so, Griffith jeopardized the sanctions that both the Congress and the President has enacted to place maximum pressure on North Korea's dangerous regime." So there you go again. That's the second point. First point being that cryptocurrency is something that the state fears. The second point being that the state believes they own you so much to the point that if they say, hey, we're going to put sanctions or punish a certain nation, if you bother going there and doing something that they see as violating those sanctions, well, you can go to prison. And let's be clear about it. As Ron Paul and plenty of other people have acknowledged before, that sanctions, which let's say they tax or they find some way to tax or increase prices for imports or exports of a certain nation. The whole point is it's supposed to weaken that nation. They're trying to create chaos and foment civil unrest within that nation, in this case, North Korea, in order for it to cause civil unrest. Now, at the end of the day, these types of sanctions, they literally lead to the deaths of thousands and tens and thousands of people around the world, and they have already in places like Iraq and elsewhere, and even in Iran. But the point is the government thinks they own you so much that if they say, hey, we're not doing business with a certain government, if you go ahead and try to do something like that, like just communicate or network or whatever, or even in this case teach a class, well, then you face prison time. So they think they own you, and they're also afraid of the people having access to cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Tens and thousands of innocent civilians in Iran, Venezuela, and North Korea are estimated to have died in just the last year due to the collective punishment inflicted on them via U.S. sanctions. So U.S. sanctions are always an act of war because they affect the people, and the whole goal, again, is to harm the people and hope that they cause enough frustration and civil unrest for the leaders that the U.S. or whoever can come in and put in their puppet government. So what has this young man, Virgil Griffith, been accused of doing exactly? Based on this statement here, again, you would think he was funneling money or paying money to terrorists or joining them, or maybe he was sending them weapons or something. No, instead he was attending an event that was open to the public and presented information at the Pyongyang Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Conference. Griffith was arrested because he failed to get permission from the U.S. government to attend the conference. And what's more, the article says the people of North Korea could have benefited from this technology by using it to circumvent their own tyrannical government. Instead, however, they will now deliberately be kept in the dark thanks to the U.S., who claims that teaching North Koreans cryptocurrency would allow them to build nuclear weapons. Assistant Director in charge of the FBI, William Sweeney, said, quote, Mr. Griffith allegedly traveled to North Korea without permission from the federal government and with knowledge that what he was doing was against the law. We cannot allow anyone to evade sanctions because the consequences of North Korea obtaining funding, technology, and information to further its desire to build nuclear weapons would put the world at risk. It's even more egregious that a U.S. citizen allegedly chose to aid our adversary. So Griffith, who is a resident of Singapore and a U.S. citizen, has worked as an Ethereum developer. For those who are not aware, Ethereum is a cryptocurrency. And he was arrested at L.A. airport last Thursday. He stands charged with violating the International Emergencies Economic Powers Act by teaching cryptocurrency to the people of the DPRK so they can avoid sanctions placed on them by the U.S. Although he was alleged to have arranged public meetings with DPRK officials to teach them this technology, none of this information is secret. Yet still, for transferring information that is not at all classified and widely available for free online, Griffith faces the possibility of 20 years in a cage. And on Twitter this past Sunday, Ethereum co-founder, the well-known Vitalik Buterin, he defended Griffith, saying that he didn't finance that the DPRK didn't finance any of his trip, and that he merely traveled there to spread information. He said, quote, "It is admirable to go to a group of people that one has been trained since childhood to believe is a maximum evil enemy and hear out what they have to say. The world would be better if more people on all sides did that. He also added that, I don't think what Virgil did gave DPRK any kind of real help in doing anything. He delivered a presentation based on publicly available info and about open source software. There was no weird hackery or advanced tutoring." In his final tweet, Vitalik wrote, "I hope the USA shows strength rather than weakness and focuses on genuine and harmful corruption that it and all countries struggle with, rather than going after programmers delivering speeches parroting public information." Of course, as I said, we know that cryptocurrency is such a threat to sanctions and government control in general. Many banker-owned politicians have seen the power of crypto to decentralize the control of money and are blocking legislation to allow crypto to compete, but they are also moving to outright ban it. One of these Federal Reserve shills is U.S. Democrat Congressman Brad Sherman, who is now openly advocating for the prohibition of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Sherman has no problem admitting that they want to ban crypto because it is a direct threat to the power of the Federal Reserves. Sherman said at a meeting of the House Financial Services Committee earlier this year that, quote, "An awful lot of our international power comes from the fact that the U.S. dollar is the standard unit of international finance and transactions," which basically they're talking about the petrodollar, and that they force people to deal in the dollar to sell oil, as well as it just being the sort of standard international currency, which I think is going to fade as the U.S. Does lose power. But they also understand that cryptocurrencies and blockchain, these digital technologies, again, in the hands of free people, they end up threatening the powers that wish they were. Now, in the hands of the state and these technocrats, it ends up centralized. It ends up about control. It ends up, blockchain, 5G, smart grid, totally monitoring of all activity kind of thing. But that's not necessarily always the case. So, for those of you who don't understand the power of cryptocurrency, I hope that this story can kind of point you to an understanding of what's really going on and why crypto is valuable and blockchain is valuable, and why I think it might be worth it for you to learn more about it if you don't already know about crypto. I've talked quite a bit about this in the past. If you haven't, you can search on our YouTube channel, our website, just search Bitcoin, what Bitcoin is, why I use it, what I think the downfalls are and the problems are with Bitcoin. But overall, I do think that cryptocurrency and blockchain will have a place in the upcoming technocratic battle between the controllers and the people who want to be free. We can have a state-run cryptocurrency, say Fedcoin, or even say the new Facebook Libra coin that they're working on, that is going to end up being, a tool of a mega corporation. Even if it threatens the government, it's still a tool of a mega corporation. We can have those tools on one side, but we also have to recognize that the technology needs to be decentralized and recognize that it needs to protect privacy and it needs to encourage liberty and empowerment. So in the hands of the people, the technology can be free and it can be a way to break away from the so-called New World Order, the technocratic state, But in the hands of the people currently in power, it's going to be more control, more domination, and less freedom. So we have to keep up with this, guys. Otherwise, I mean, I guarantee you're not going to hear much about this guy. This report isn't going to be in the mainstream. But now he's facing 20 years in prison for teaching cryptocurrency, but with publicly available information. This young dude, that's probably a brilliant guy who's got a lot of information, a lot of valuable things to share with the world, now potentially could be facing life, or at least basically life. 20 years is a good chunk of your life in prison. So please spread the word, and if you like this report, follow, like, share, subscribe. Consider investing in the future of the Conscious Resistance Network. And until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.